One of our clients that we do the sales agency work for, she's helping women escape their corporate jobs and start their own consulting businesses. That would have been me. I've been in this career for 20 years and I would feel exactly the same way that they do. And I'm so happy that I chose 18 years ago to make the leap of faith into entrepreneurship. In this economy, connection trumps conversion. That connection, that's going to lead to conversion, but also maintaining that connection with your existing clients so that they turn into other conversions, that matters too, because you're increasing the lifetime value of your client. Relational versus transactional is so much more important. People want to feel seen, heard, understood, really taking a moment to be relational, connect, listen to what they want and tie it to that, bringing the humanity to it. One of the big things about sales is conviction. Whoever has the highest level of conviction and certainty wins.
Good day, everyone. This is Dr. David Phelps of the Freedom Founders Mastermind community and the Dentist Freedom Blueprint podcast. I am back with good friend, and I just call it a sales wizard, Vanessa Horn. Vanessa, great to see you again.
So good to see you, David. So happy to be back.
Well, if you're catching this particular episode without hearing the last one, go ahead and listen to this one, but you want to go back and listen to last week's, because I had Vanessa last week where we really dug into some of the pathway, the journey that Vanessa went on as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, and whoever you are in business as an entrepreneur. The spirits that Vanessa brought out during the episode were tremendous. So be sure you go back and catch those. Let me give you a little bit about Vanessa. I'll keep this short since you can catch her intro on the last one. Vanessa is the CEO of Vanessa Horn International and the founder of the Classy Close and the Signature Sales Agency. Vanessa has an MBA, and over the last 18 years has built top sales organizations, has taught her Classy Close sales system to over 60,000 entrepreneurs to help them master enrolling high-end clients online. She's been featured on national television, radio, and magazines for her work, and she and her husband of 24 years and 3 sons currently live in North Carolina. To learn more about her sales training programs and done-for-you sales agency, visit vanessahorn.com and theclassyclose.com. So let's dig in a little bit first before we get into the close and what you've learned and why that's important. I want to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. And I went to your website, vanessahorn.com, and you've got a lot of great blogs. So I want to refer people there if you want some inspiration. Really good. And you've got a blog about I love entrepreneurship. And I've got to read just a little bit of this because I thought it was so good, Vanessa. In this blog, you say, I love business and specifically entrepreneurship. I see entrepreneurship as a canvas on which to create a work of art, a medium for creative expression, a platform for impacting lives and serving powerfully, a direct and clear metric of feedback on how well you are serving measured in dollars. So true. A playground in which to play. I love that. I love that. That's so good. An opportunity to stretch beyond your comfort zone, grow and learn, as engaging both the left and the right sides of the brain, an arena for sharing your gifts and passion, a microphone through which to speak your unique voice, a place where there are no glass ceilings, a party at which you get to interact with people, the magnificence of a variety of people, and to love them, whether they are your business partners, your clients, or your peers. Endless opportunities to create win-win-win, an adventure with maps, if you want them, from others who have led the way and discovered sound principles, as well as wide open spaces where you can blaze your own trails. If you too are called to create in this space called entrepreneurship, please share what you love about it. And to me, that's like the essence of what we get to be, right? I love how you laid that out so well. And again, people can go back and listen to last week's episode to learn more about your journey into entrepreneurship. But I love that about how you see the playing field as a canvas, a place to be creative and explore, stretch, all those things.
I do believe so wholeheartedly about it. And the thing about us as entrepreneurs, I think it was Steve from Apple who said, those who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world do. We are not wired the same as everybody else. And it's that drive inside of us, and that our personal lives are largely integrated. Like there's not as much separation into the good or bad, right? When they say like, as an entrepreneur, you get to work 40 hours, you just get to choose which 40 hours or when you're going to do those.
Right.
But I have a son who's in college right now as a freshman, and he's trying to decide his major. And I'm like, meanwhile, Hey, honey, we're going to an investment workshop in November. Do you want to, mid-November, do you want to join us? Because I just know, like, teaching him these principles that you teach your clients about how to have your money work for you, not just your own effort. That's the key, right? There's so many things that a flexibility, glass ceilings that we're not limited by. One of our clients that we do the sales agency work for, she's helping women escape their corporate jobs and start their own consulting businesses. And I'm seeing in these conversations that I'm having with those women, that would have been me. If I hadn't left corporate 18 years ago, that would be me. I'd be saying, hey, I'm making, I don't know, most of them are about 20K a month. And I've been in this career for 20 years. And I would feel exactly the same way that they do. And I'm so happy that I chose 18 years ago to make the leap of faith into entrepreneurship and don't look back. Highly recommend it for those of us who are wired this way.
Oh, you're so right. And I know it's scary. I mean, we typically, when we start out, we want the safety and security of some kind of regular paycheck, but staying in that place for those of us who are, as you said, wired this way, that's not going to do it. We're always going to feel like there's more, and there is more. And so I love that about what you say. The other thing that will kind of take us into our topic today, which has to do with converting good prospects, the right prospects, we'll talk about that today too, into the service, the product or the services that we can provide for them, assuming we provide good service and value. And I'm gonna say that's a given, but let's say that has to be a given. So you've got something is of value, and many people are great with their services or their products that can be very amazing, but if they can't give people the reason why it could be a good fit for them or something that can change their lives, then it could sit on the shelf, or your service never gets known, and or you interact with potential clients and there's no action taken. So we're going to get into that today. The other thing I want to talk about entrepreneurship, because again, something you wrote in one of your blogs is you said there's a lie, and I agree with you. The lie is work for 2 to 5 years, do today what no one else is willing to do, so you can live the rest of your life like no one else will. And you said the problem is just working harder isn't going to really move the needle. And we think it does. We think that as long as we work hard, that we are, going to get there, or it just, feels good. But actually, what's really happening there, and the working smarter, one of the key things that you help your clients do is take their amazing services or products, but actually get them into the hands or the usage of the clients that they really want to help. And so that's part of that. That's the working smarter. I need new patients, new clients, new members, whatever. No, maybe you don't need more because you are just not able to convey the message of the outcome that is very possible for the right ones.
Correct. And the opportunity with upsells, cross-sells with existing clientele that you have, really optimizing that. And especially, I think in this economy, I say that connection trumps conversion. So that connection, whether it's with a prospect, that's going to lead to conversion with the right systems in place, but also maintaining that connection with your existing clients so that they turn into other conversions. That matters too, because you're increasing the lifetime value of your client.
Yes.
And then the other thing that's happening now, especially with the economy kind of changing, is that relational versus transactional is so much more important. People want to feel seen, heard, understood. And sometimes in sales, we just do like throw spaghetti against the wall. We throw a whole bunch of things against the wall and hope something resonates with them and they'll say yes, versus really taking a moment to be relational, connect, listen to what they want and tie it to that.
Yeah. So all of that takes intentional work. I know that, that, people who are listening know that. When we are in a place in our life, it could be younger in life, although it could be anywhere in life, when maybe, again, the economy has caused constraints, as we're dealing with right now in many issues, or going through COVID, or having difficulty even keeping a decent labor force in place. There are a lot of moving parts right now, and a lot of businesses owners are feeling the crunch. Their profitability may be down. They may be, cash flow tight. When we're in that position, it puts more pressure on us. And as the owners, oftentimes, I can speak for myself, but I'll convey that pressure, not the right way, to the team. And you'll look at if it's the schedule or the number of new leads or conversions. And when the numbers aren't there that you are expecting, then we feel that pressure. How do you talk to either existing clients or maybe new clients who are looking for help with what you do, Vanessa, and encourage them to hold the line on seeking, the right people? Because again, it's easy to go to transactional. I just need enough to cover the nut this month, so I'm just gonna push, and we're gonna strong arm some people in, or just get them in here and get them started and whatever it is. And of course, that's not going to work. It goes back to, it needs to be more relational, more connection. But if we're in a kind of a frenzy and we feel kind of constrained because the money's not there right now, it's easy to fall back on, let's just get a sale.
Yeah, it's so crucial right now. This is where we have to do the work of managing our mindset. It's the same thing back in 2008. I was running a sales organization and we sold a high ticket skincare line. And you would think that, okay, people aren't going to invest expensive multiple hundreds of dollars in skincare products when the economy is going into the place that it was in 2008. And yet our organization was outpacing everybody else. I was getting all these trips to Hawaii and all these recognition and awards. And the other sales organization leaders came to me and they're like, Vanessa, how is your team doing well and continuing to grow when the rest of our organizations are seeing a downward turn? And I just said, we're laser focused. We know there's going to be winners and losers in this economy, and we're going to choose to be winners. And there's always going to be opportunity. And so we just kept those blinds on, so to speak, about making a choice to not let that anxious state that was in the environment affect us and therefore mess with our mindset. Because as soon as one of the big things about sales is conviction, whoever has the highest level of conviction and certainty wins. And part of what your clients are coming into you for is like, is this the right time? Should I be concerned? Or when they feel your certainty, then that's going to take them across the line. And so anything that would chip away at your certainty, negative news, negative people whose businesses are going down, surround yourself with others who are still strong, who are going upward, and learn from them, and so that you can protect that. Otherwise, that frantic anxiety gets impacted in the relational sales process or any other process, especially teams. They feel it.
Yeah, your customers, your clients, your prospects, that's a sixth sense. Even men can feel that. We're usually a little slow but we can feel when somebody is more frantic, more anxious, just trying to get the business. So when you talk about conviction and certainty, obviously that has to be built within the entire culture of your team, and particularly on the sales line, people who are interacting front line with your existing clients or potential new ones. They've got to have that conviction. So what is as you're working with clients, I'm sure a big part you have to instill in the owner is what's that culture look like? Who are you? What's your mindset? Because then that's got to be conveyed down the ranks. I mean, how much of what the work you do goes into the actual work with the mindset and making sure that the entire team is good? Because you can give them all the sales training in the world, but if their mindset's not right and they're feeling a scarcity, or like, no, we don't want to sell this great product because we don't think these people can afford it, because the economy is tough right now and people can't even pay rent or buy gas, or whatever their thinking is. How do we instill the right kind of thinking in our team?
Well, we have to recognize that if they walk through the door, if they booked a call, there's a reason, right? We're actually in service for something that they're pursuing. And so therefore, it's not like if they're wanting to solve a problem, which is what usually compels people to take action and buy a service or a product, the options are they work with us, we provide the product or service, or they work with somebody else they're still going to come up, they're still going to face everything that they're facing when they come to us. If they don't move forward with us, they're going to face it with somebody else. The same kind of questions are going to be in their mind, or they have the option of doing nothing.
Right.
When we know what we have to offer is better, even the investment of doing it is the cost of doing nothing. When that is higher than the cost of doing something, then part of our role in that sales conversation is going to be coaching the prospect through that. It just like so many years, it's always been, sometimes in sales, we're afraid to ask, well, if you don't do this, what will you do? Well, we kind of bring on the table, let's talk about all your options. Right. Okay, we do nothing. This is this is what that looks like. You do this, you do anything else. Some of those things that they're bringing up as objections with us, they're going to be present with somebody else. So that opportunity to coach them through that. So I just work on salespeople around that. I've had a gentleman, there was one of the sales in one of the organizations that we support. The salesperson was underperforming compared to the other salespeople. Guess what? In the month of September, he outperformed everybody else. And I said, what happened? And he said, I invested in my own training. And he said, I had to borrow this certainty from the trainer, the confidence that sales trainer had. I borrowed it. I also felt what it felt like for our clients to invest at a high ticket level. And I invested in myself at a high ticket level. That's it. It wasn't even everything that he learned in the program. It was the fact that he was borrowing confidence. And so that is what I encourage anybody who is in sales, whether it's the founder or whether it's part of the team, it's stay plugged into where you can borrow confidence, borrow certainty if you need it. But there will always be people who can't afford things. It doesn't matter if we're in a wonderful economy or not, but who are we talking to? Who are we targeting with our services and not buy into that nobody is? Because truth of the matter is I'm in investment. I do syndications like you encourage, and I'm in rooms where they're like, it's a minimum 50K, 100K investment, and all the hands are going up. Like they have money. People got money. They're investing in stuff. If you see cars, they're still moving. People are buying brand new cars. They're still buying stuff. And so if we tell ourselves a story that they can't afford it because something's changed the economy, the truth of the matter is that there are people that it can. So let's not make it a no from the get-go until we really coach them through that.
So you know that you and I are speaking today to certainly entrepreneurs. Many of them are service providers. Many of them are in the healthcare profession, services, dentistry, certainly a big proponent of our group that's listening today. How do you feel about people who try to lure potential leads through low cost, kind of come in for the free exam or come get the free toothbrush, or I know what your answer is, but let's just lay it out there. I mean, trying to engage people on a level of, here's a discount, or here's a freebie, or here's something to entice you to come engage with us so that we can hopefully turn you into a good client or patient.
Yeah, it's like sometimes there's a real disconnect, right? The people who are taking advantage of those offers. I think that there are some offers that are compelling. And if you have a very good sales process, so it might be a higher tier type of offer, but it's still getting people in. But I think that where you have to be mindful of is somebody comes in and it's a different tier than who you're really attracting, that you want to attract for your services. And if you have that disconnect, then you're wasting a lot of time, energy, effort trying to serve a lower tier part of the market that maybe a very tiny percentage actually move upward.
So you would say a key for any business would be to be as crystal clear as possible about who you are wanting or desiring to serve and why. Be
clear who is that ideal avatar and treat it like a velvet rope. Have a bouncer and you're bringing them and you're treating like you're the prize, and you protect that. And otherwise, if you want to be a commoditized service, that's just not as sophisticated of a selling proposition. Those of us who want to sell not based on commoditizing our products and services and making them as cheap as possible, so people come in making decisions based on product and price alone, that you're competing with the Walmart, mindset type of the market. Whereas if you're like, okay, no, I know what we have to offer. We're going to take the time to get clear about what is our value proposition, what makes us different, what's our approach, so that we can educate the client around that and serve at a higher tier. That's fewer people who have to say yes. And it's more the right people. It's more people you enjoy working with. And so being very protective of that and crystal clear, then you can target more of those people versus having one message that's trying to get them in the door with one thing. And then really behind the scenes, you're trying to create a different type of practice or business.
So we talked about at the beginning, Vanessa, about relationships, relational engagement versus transactional. I know your training is high level, very extensive and very comprehensive. So we can't do your training today by any means. But if you were to give some tips for us as business owners in terms of the kind of training and level of understanding we want our front leading people who are on the phone or talking to our existing or potential clients, what are some good ways to get in step with that prospective client or existing client in terms of relationship? What should be done there? Because again, I'm just thinking through the world of dentistry, patient calls, and usually it's, I've got a chipped tooth, sensitive tooth, broken tooth, I'm in pain, and how much would it be to come in and get XYZ fixed? That's the call that comes in. So how should someone on the front end of that start to build a relationship while still taking care of the patient and triaging and figuring out, if they can help them and how to best do that?
Empathizing with them. One thing that I have found around sales training is that all of us are, and especially as business owners, we can be wired more this way, where we're left brain, and we can also kind of create a culture within our organization that's that way, right? Very logistics based, very tactical. And what happens is I actually have to train individuals on being mindful of the concurrent emotional journey that the prospect is going through, and being mindful of what are the things that we're doing in the sales process that is addressing that. So if somebody's calling in that particular instance is at the front end and it's triage, then you want that person to be empathetic and be like bring a sort of compassion and understanding about the sense of urgency that's going on in their situation, so that they feel heard. They feel like this is a human that I'm talking to. It's just not, in other words, we could have had a robot answer the call. If it's just press this, right. If it's an emergency, press this. If it's something that you can, schedule within X amount of time. Instead, it's a human there. And so we want to take advantage of that. And also sometimes whenever you're in those deeper conversations and presenting the service or talking about the service that can be done, this might be a different stage of the sales process. It's finding out, give me a picture of how this fits into, the bigger picture of what's happening for you in your life, or in your, if it's somebody who has an offer, it's related to a business owner, give me a bigger picture of what's happening in your life or in your business. If I can get some context, and especially if there's a partner that's involved, that's going to be part of the decision-making process, I make certain that they're in agreement about that, not my service or product that I'm selling, right? That's why we always think like they need to be in agreement about that, but it's a means to something that they want. So are they in agreement to that thing that they want? Are they in the same page about that? Because if we can confirm that they are in agreement for that, then we can now present our offer, our solution, knowing that, hey, this is going to give them the outcome that they want. And if they don't go forward with us, how else are they going to solve that? We become an advocate of them having the thing that they really want. And in that case, the example you gave, relief, right? If you don't get this solved, what's going to be affected? Are you able to go to work currently? Any of those kinds of touch points of bringing the humanity to it.
The advocacy is so important. And that's again where the relationship's built from. If whether you can help me or not, maybe you don't have time on your schedule for me, maybe you don't take my insurance, and that's really important to me, but the fact that you empathized with me, you called me by name, you dug in a little bit deeper, like you said, to see what, what's surrounding this particular issue in the rest of my life. That speaks volumes. And how much, I think we all think, well, that just takes too much time. We're busy, 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 but that comes back to that working harder, not smarter, doesn't it? I mean, when we're busy, when phones are ringing, when people are coming, we think that that's really good. We're busy. We're so busy, we really can't even connect with the people. That's where it's gone wrong. That's where, if we'd slow it down and get back to what really matters in building those relationships, probably seeing fewer people, which is less stressful than trying to see everybody and just work them all in and hope that you take their insurance, or hope that you can help them with the financial aspects. I've seen that so often. I'm sure you do in all kinds of businesses, where people think, well, more volume, more volume, more volume. I'll make it all up on volume, and yet your overhead goes up and your profit margin usually goes down, because the transaction value turns into lifetime value of a client or patient minimizes, and that's not the goal here at all.
And people, the people who are willing to pay those higher fees, they care about experience.
Mm-hmm.
They care how they feel when they're in the waiting room. They care how they feel. And if we, many times, especially when somebody's doing a function that they do all the time, every single day, dozens, hundreds of interactions, sometimes we can get numb, especially a lot of people in the healthcare services, right? You can get a little numb. And so it takes an awareness, a consciousness to be fully present with the person in front of you, bring major curiosity. Like, I just try to put on a hat, so to speak, of, especially like I've done 55 sales calls in a week before. Like, I was going back to back to back to back to back. And I knew that it could feel transactional with those people, because I'm saying the same thing over and over. It could start to feel kind of deadening to me. Right. But I just like refresh. Who's this person in front of me? What's their unique human experience? And how can I bring curiosity and interest and connection with them, so they get seen as a human being and not just somebody that I'm hurting through the line.
Right.
And people feel that. And there's this book, Blink, written by Malcolm Gladwell. I think it's a Malcolm Gladwell book. And he talks about how in an instant, people could see, was that a true sculpture or not? Was that a fake? And I believe that we don't give credit to people that at a subconscious level, they get when we're faking it and when we're real. They get when something is in integrity or not. They can sniff when something doesn't quite feel right. They can't maybe articulate it. It's being sensed at a subconscious level. And so our job, our role is to clean that up inside of us. So we're coming from that genuine place. So their subconscious, they don't have red flags. They don't have the things that show up that would prevent them from staying in connection. And maybe they don't sign up or do pay for the service today, but they'll remember how they felt. They'll remember, if you can't take them, that you say, you know what, we've got a connection with somebody else so I can serve you. Hang on a moment, not just sending them down the road, but let me call their office. Like, taking that extra step. It's the same like when you go into a store and someone says, oh yeah, that's on aisle 13, versus the stores that you walk into and you ask for directions and they're like, come with me, and they walk you there. It's those little things that matter.
So huge, so huge. Last few minutes, give us a little bit of context around objections. If you had to give us kind of a framework around typical or type of objections and how we should look at, again, dealing with those in the right ways. There's right way and a wrong way. So give us a little bit of context. I know it's extensive here, but just give us some of the high points, Vanessa.
So the high points about objections is a model I called my 10 by 3. Every single business owner needs to know what are the top 10 objections. And there's 3 core ways to address them. Number 1, you need to find out between your marketing and when they come in the door, what can you do to proactively overcome those? If you know that there's one, for instance, that comes up all the time, let's have a story on the front end, that a video that addresses that. No. So have it addressed in the sales funnel. That's one of the first 10 the 10 is the top 10 objections. The 3 is 1, it's in the sales process and marketing funnel. Number 2, identify client stories that are related to those objections. I used to have a gal on one particular offer that I sold. Her story was so good. I could use her story for virtually every single person because she hit like 7 of the top 10 objections. I would just tell her story and it made it so real for the people because they could see themselves. I was hitting those objections that they were thinking about with a real person story. And then the third way to address the top 10 objections is models. And I know that you've worked with Simon Bowen, frameworks, models, visual ways to overcome that objection that you've proactively, because you know what your top 10 are, you've developed something that overcomes that. So now I've just, with every single client, I spend time with them. What are the top 10? How are we going to address this in the sales funnel? Is there a story, a client success story that overcomes it? And is there a framework or a model that we need to develop that would help to overcome that during the sales process?
Yeah, I love that. 10 by 3. That's a good one. 10 top objections and the three ways to address those. Very, very good.
And also that empathy thing that I mentioned earlier is, totally understand. One of the things that I like to do is collect people's objections as if I'm in a tennis court with them and they throw a tennis ball over, they hit a tennis ball over, and that's their objection. Everybody pay attention. If you are in a buying experience and you give an objection, what do you expect? You expect that the other person's going to hit it back.
That's right.
They're going to have an answer. So instead of just hitting the ball back, show some empathy, say, yep, I hear you. Okay, yes, we'll definitely address that. What else? What else is your concern? What else is your concern? And then I'm collecting all these tennis balls in a little basket. I'm not hitting a single one over, because if I get hitting the 10, they hit a ball and I hit another one, now I'm in a combative relationship with them. They're expecting me to protest every single objection, and I might not get to the real stuff. But if I'm showing empathy and saying, oh yeah, I can understand that, I definitely will address that. What else? What else is showing up? Okay, I hear you on this. Okay, anything else that we would need to address? And I'm just collecting these. I can usually get to what is the real. It might be several tennis balls in before I get to the real one. And we think in our tactical brain, I need to hit these 10. I need to answer all of them. And sometimes it's just like answering that last one.
Yes.
I totally understand how you feel. So our client so-and-so felt exactly the same way as you. Here's what we found. And you can address that one. All of a sudden you have like a whole bunch of other ones that were never addressed and they're signing up.
Well, that's such a normal human behavior. None of us want to divulge, our deep feelings right out of the gate. So we're going to hit the easy balls over first. The easy ones. Oh, here, try this one, Vanessa. Here, try that one. And you're so wise, because once we feel like we've been heard and you show the empathy, you reduce that barrier that I've tried to hold up. And now, as you said, you're getting down to what really matters. The other ones really don't matter at that point. You got down to the core and you dealt with that one. You didn't have to play back and forth across the net with it. That's beautiful. I love that. It makes total sense to me, but I just love the way you put it together. That's what you're so good at. That's why your training's so good, is because you take core concepts and you put them in frameworks that are easy to understand and easy for our people who are, again, front line, that are helping serve our clients, customers, patients, members, whatever they are, and giving them the tools and resources to do it well, working smarter versus harder. Last thing that I'm going to read off of your website was that if you continue doing what you're doing today, what will your life look like in 5 years? Kind of back to that client, patient, customer who has, you can work with me, you can work with someone else, or you can do nothing at all. Well, what's going to change? Back to that. So if you want something to change, you must make a change. And I think that's the key to everything in life. If we're struggling with something, get some help. Find that leader who has already gone down that path and can help you work smarter, not just keep, turning the hamster wheel the same way you've been, feeling like, well, if I just work harder, I'm going to get somewhere. likely not. Likely you need to make some significant change. And I think the classy close that you're so good at is definitely one of those key inflection leverage points that any business could benefit from.
Yeah, I just feel like you're a huge proponent of this. I know that you are a mentor. I know that you invest in mentors. That has been a game changer in my life. I go up to Virginia Tech. It's not far from here in I'm in North Carolina. And I speak to the young people there who are in the innovation and entrepreneurship program. And I just tell them, if there's something that you want to do, if there's something that you want to get better at, there is a mentor. There are people who have figured it out. Find them.
Yes.
Invest in them. Otherwise, we just put our head down. We're in the weeds. We can't see the forest for the trees sometimes in running a business, that we can't come up for air to realize, yes, you can solve those things and get the right support, so it doesn't have to be that challenging. And this is a funny story about, like, if nothing changes, what's going to change in the next 5 years. When I was 32 years old, I actually had to get braces because I had a baby tooth that was never coming out. It was just not coming out. Meanwhile, the adult tooth was on the roof of my mouth. And I was like, oh, do I do it? Do I not? I'm 32. I had a baby, a second baby on the way. And the doctor, the orthodontist, turned to the lady that was with him, his assistant, and he's like, yeah, if she doesn't do it now, she's going to be one of those that comes in at 38, 40 or whatever. And I realized, like, he's so right. If not now, when?
That's right.
And I ended up doing it, but it's the same thing, right? It's applicable for the audience that you have.
Yeah. No, we're all the same. We all tend to be the same way. And you're right. As the years go by, but do we make changes as we go along those years, or do we look back with regrets? And we certainly don't want to do that. That's not a joyful life. Well, Vanessa, I always love talking to you. I love your spirit of entrepreneurialism. You certainly have lived that path, and you dispel it to others so well. So thank you for that. Thanks for your time again today. Really appreciate the opportunity.
It's my pleasure. So such a delight to be able to spend time with you, David. Have so much respect for you and the work you do. Pleasure to be here.
Take care, Vanessa.
All right. Bye for now.
If you enjoyed watching or learning from this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more content. If you have a question about any of my content or this specific video, just please leave a comment down below. And as always, stay focused on your freedom. I'll see you next time.